for workshops. If somebody wants to do that, go to the website and turn something in, suggest something.
Okay, I'm good to go. I'm all set back up again. Hopefully it doesn't crash again. Are we ready to go, Sue? For you?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Welcome everyone to Verseweavers 2021 reading of prize-winning poems. Before we begin the readings, I'd like to introduce and recognize Susan Woods Morse, OPA's Adult Contest Chair during 2020 and 2021. Her work made this evening's event possible. There are many hundreds of behind-the-scenes contacts and actions necessary to run OPA's adult contests twice every year, and multiple programs to navigate. Without Susan's dedicated service, these contests would not have run smoothly. Susan accomplished her work with grace and equanimity and made it look easy. Thank you so much, Susan. Let's give a warm round of applause for Susan Woods Morse, author of In the Hush.
Thank you, Nancy. And you're doing a wonderful job as the new contest chair. So
Thanks, Susan. Have a wonderful evening. I hope you'll read a poem for us. All right, everyone, let's get started. Winning poets will be called on alphabetically to read, and some will have multiple pieces to read. We're going to start with Grace Beeler. She won the Fall 2021 Poets' Choice First Place, and the poem is titled Salt on page 59. In addition, she won the Fall 2021 Spanish Language First Place, Edición Viejo Amigo, which is on page 105 and translated on page 106. Grace, are you ready?
Sure.
All right.
Do you have a preference for which poem I read first?
No, you go right ahead.
Okay. Let me do Adicción Viejo Amigo first. Adicción, viejo amigo. Te conozco desde el primer agarre huesudo de tu mano en mío. Tu mirada vidriosa, el resplandor del neón verde, reflejando en tus dientes, mientras tras tus labios en una especie de sonrisa. La pálida pendiente de tu mejilla sin afectar. El crujido de tu voz oxidada. Tu reto colgando en el área humillante. Este aquí es mío. Conozco el balanceo y baja de este baile. El beso de un amanecer rosado. El abrazo aplastante del crepúsculo. Te paras en la puerta, viejo amigo, viejo amante, raqueteando las llaves y riendo. So I'll read the translation now. Addiction, old friend. I recognize you from the first bony grip of your hand on mine. Your glassy stare, the green neon glow reflected on your teeth as you pull your lips into a sort of smile. The pallid slope of your stubbled cheek, the creak of your rusted voice, your dare hanging in the smoky air. This one is mine. I know the sway and dip of this dance, the kiss of a rosy dawn, the crushing embrace of dusk. You stand in the doorway, old friend, old lover, rattling the keys and laughing.
Thank you so much, Grace. That was wonderful.
Thanks. And now I'll read Salt. I have a simple longing, one which falls well within the realm of women. A shelf of blue glass, an open kitchen window, sunlight, and a fruit tree beyond, cherry or apple, something that will ruin the lawn with its bounty in the fall. And all the salt in the house, contained in one wide-mouthed canning jar on the counter, wider than bleached bones, to be carefully measured, a scant half teaspoon for a golden lump of dough. You remember how it feels, the breeze on your arms as you work the rolling pin across the surface, each fingerprint disappearing under the smooth wood, re-emerging reborn, pure as fresh butter and almost as yellow.
Wonderful. That's delicious.
And thank you so much. I really appreciate being part of the contest and winning. It was really an honor.
That was very nice.
Thank you so much, Grace. Next up, we have Linda Ferguson. She has 3 poems for us. She's a 3-time winner. The Spring 2021 members only first place, which is called From the Journals of Rumpelstiltskin on page 15. The Fall 2021 Poets Choice second place, Me and My Abracadabra Snapped in Half on page 60. And the Fall 2021 Traditional Sestina second place, Far from the Tree on page 87. Are you ready, Linda?
Yeah. Thank you, Nancy. It's so nice to see so many of you who I've seen your names before and to actually get to see your face. It's wonderful. And I've traded lots of emails with Susan Morse, and so it's nice to see you. This first poem is an imaginary journal entry, and I've written a whole series of poems like this, and some of them are in my new chapbook that's available from Finishing Line Press. So this one is called From the Journals of Rumpelstiltskin. I gave myself the name, so many syllables, delicious, like chocolates and almonds, or the wrinkles of dried cherries and shards of coconut, all tumbling between teeth and tongue. At the castle, they're in a tizzy. Virus, quarantine, blah, blah, blah. Ha! I live alone in a hut with a roof of woven branches. I dance around the stove while I'm cooking. I've made a family for myself out of fallen plums. My favorite is Gisela. She wears an oak leaf apron and greets me with her alpine contralto. I have a rich interior life. You never hear about that, though. All you get is the same tired story, the one where I throw a fit and tear myself in two. Now, why would I do that? I don't need a mirror or an Instagram account to see myself. I'm like a bonfire whose sparks rise to kiss the goal's arc. I know who I am and how it feels when I lift my face to the sky and the stars kiss me in return. Let that be the story you tell your kids tonight.
Delightful. Thank you so much, Linda.
Thank you. This next one, I got the idea from Chen Chen's poem, Me, My Sadness, and My Mango Smoothie. Me and my abracadabra snapped in half. My whining puppies in a basket, my let's get this over with, my thrashing gallop, my make it stop, my if only that and this, my whirligig hopes, my burrow and sniff, my frenzied dust and dancing computer screen, my I give up, my I won't give up, my you can't make me, my enough is enough, my Father who art in heaven, my unmasked mother, Mary, my red state brother, my blue state brother, my sun-scorched state, your sun-scorched state, our withered rivers, our flinching mountains, our oceans of angst, of sirens and sweating cheese, of a bloody lip and baby teeth, of you asked for it, of you're not as nice as everyone thinks, of my happiness snuggling in a convenient quarantine, of don't look back, of remember when, of melting pumpkins on the porch and sequin and construction paper stars swaying from the fir limbs, of ice cream and card games and Carol Burnett mugging on TV, of flannel pajamas and fuzzy slippers shaped like bear cubs and bunnies, of blankets smelling of kittens and delicate scratches, and Sunday's chicken of ready or not, here I come, and ollie ollie oxen free, and come out wherever you are, and half-hearted attempts to capture your flag. And we're all falling down and don't need any more Red Rover bullies or blindfolds bluffing reality or trampling dreams in shades of red and gold, black and bronze, white and green, all playing for the same team in the dawn's early light on our fruited plains and under our spacious skies and over our shining seas in our country, our country, our country. 'Tis of thee.
Very nice. Thank you so much. What a delightful form.
So the last one is the sestina, which I found really hard to write, but I stuck with it. Far from the tree. The story starts under the disguise of night, where nude Eve, an ordinary woman, both foolish and false, accepts a forbidden offer, masquerading as a fresh-faced apple. Poor Adam, ensnared by the florid shadows of her erring ways, he too must guzzle shame. They say that as a woman she was ordained to live shamelessly, what with her unseemly desire slinking through the night and her disobedience that trampled the garden's crocheted shadows. Isn't it sad that every girl must become a woman? That they all start playing hopscotch and making apple pies, then later burden men with their feather brains and foul offers? Even if she'd obeyed her master and refused the serpent's offer, she was, of course, born to mate with shame. What with those breasts hanging like two white apples, glowing in the garden between tendrils of nightshade. So man's natural innocence was strangled by a woman who was supposed to be his helpmate, his pale shadow. Now she's home alone, kicking at a dusty town's sad shadow, when another man stands at the door with a juicy offer. Of course, the fool/slut stays true to her nature as a woman. With eyes wide open, she casually tosses her shame to the floor, then later claims she was hoodwinked that night. After all, it's God, she equivocates, who created snakes and apples. She moans that she who was once the prize, the glowing apple of her father's eye, the flower of his fragrant garden, is now a shadow of her former self, dressed in passionless flannel every night. Of course, she can't win whether she refuses every ripe offer or opens her legs or, God forbid, her mouth. She reeks of shame. Still she cries, I never asked to be either wife or woman. What if I had been born a man instead of a woman? She complains. Could she have eaten bushels of apples and been praised instead of being branded with shame and spending eternity in her husband's long, tepid shadow? Would God or whoever have conceived of a better offer to make Eve president or prince of the night? Funny that at my age, I still blush to say the words night and woman. And whenever I reach for a pregnant branch offering a sweet apple, In my feminine brain's shadows, I embrace my birthright, shame. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Linda. That was wonderful. Thank you so much. Next up, we have Michaela Gallup. She won the under 30 first place fall of 2021 with her poem CR 3210, which is on page 95. Are you ready to go, Michaela?
Yes, can everyone hear me?
Yes.
All right. CR 3210. I lived on a road without a name, only a number larger than the population of the town it meandered to in a dusty sort of cursive that spelled out nothing when I traced it to nowhere with the soles of my feet and the break in a branch. We held library cards in 3 counties because we were kicked out of the one in the city after my brother forgot his shoes, and the nearest town only had a single shelf of dog-eared donations, but my mother believed in education and enforced silence. My sister and I found a dead mockingbird on the side of the cattle guard, and we crawled over the rusting slats to carry it home. But halfway down the hillside, we buried it in the creek bed by the cemetery, where there was limestone to spare between the stagnant puddles. My parents bought the produce stand across from the Baptist church next to the Methodists from Roger and his wife because she said that they were ready to die, but Roger spit tobacco into the rows of tomatoes and painted over the sign before leaving. When the squash bugs swarmed that year, we painted the fields in hot pepper pulp, and my mother read Habakkuk 3:17 like a cadence over our sunburnt scalps. Then the Odyssey when winter came early and we packed green tomato mincemeat into mason jars and pie crusts. There was a barbecue restaurant in the old gas station for a few summers, and the owner made us call her Aunt Penny because it's not charity when it's family, and she sent us bags of Texas toast and clamshells of brisket ends when my sister got sick. The table under the oak tree was for sandwiches and subtraction, but when there was no shade, we sat in the cold room or on the desks someone left in the abandoned duplex that my dad always said he was going to fix up after my sister fell on the bare beams and broke her nose. I drove back across the creek a few years ago, and it wasn't dry at all. The library had another room, and the gas station was an art gallery, and the duplex was lived in. And I wonder how many mockingbirds had to drown first to pave this gravel road in running water.
Very nice. Thank you so much, Michaela. Those are amazing long lines. Why did you choose to write in such long lines? Did it just come automatically as you were composing, or did you think about that?
I wrote this poem in a workshop. So there's a local poetry group in Vancouver, Washington, where I live. And one of the workshop prompts was just, tell a story, kind of stream of consciousness like, and this is kind of what came out of it.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. Next up, we have Nitza Hernandez, spring of 2021. She won the Spanish language first place, entre parentheses, on pages 46 and 47. You ready, Nitza?
Yeah. Thank you, Nancy, and thank you all for being here, and congratulations to the rest of you for your beautiful poems. It's an honor to be part of this anthology. So I'm going to read it in Spanish first. Entre paréntesis. Se ha colocado entre nosotros un signo de paréntesis, con su curva de entrada y la de cierre, una para ti y otra para mí, en tiempos de espera en silencio, para expresar lo que a veces no podemos decir con nuestras voces, dar sentido a lo inconcebible. Un paréntesis para repetir el recuerdo de un aguacero cadencioso en el Caribe, en temporada de sequía, anhelando derramar su agua cristalina refrescante en nuestros cuerpos. Un paréntesis inesperado nos ha llegado en tiempos de pandemia. ¿Querrá recalcar la incertidumbre del mañana? ¿Querrá advertirnos que nada es permanente? Un paréntesis en medio de nosotros pide a gritos palabras de ternura para revelar sin miedo cualquier dolor oculto, un signo de paréntesis abierto con los suspiros nuestros, en noche de luna nueva, y cerrado en plena madrugada después de haber tocado las estrellas, como otras veces hemos hecho, tras ver girar la tierra desde muy lejos, imaginando alcanzar el infinito. Un paréntesis de fórmula algebraica nos invita a insertar cifras de suma, resta y multiplica, experiencias compartidas en la raíz cuadrada, una ecuación de certeza anticipada, aunque no la hayamos calculado todavía, pues el resultado será un número completo, no una fracción de un solo instante. Un paréntesis que nos permita sostener el corazón de cada uno entre ese signo paciente y arbitrario, dispuesto a simplemente destacar lo indescifrable del amor y del tiempo en su conjunto. And my reading in English, in parentheses. A parenthesis sign has been placed between us, with its entry bracket and its closing one for you and the other one for me, in waiting times of silence, to express what sometimes we cannot say with our voices, to make sense of the inconceivable. A parenthesis to repeat the memory of a lilting downpour in the Caribbean, a drought time, yearning to pour its crystal clear, refreshing water into our bodies. An unexpected parenthesis has come to us in times of the pandemic. Does it want to emphasize the uncertainty of tomorrow? Does it want to warn us that nothing is permanent? A parenthesis between us asks, crying out for words of tenderness to fearlessly reveal any hidden pain. A sign of parenthesis open with our sighs on a night of a new moon, and closed in full dawn after having touched the stars, like other times we have done, after viewing the earth spinning from far away, imagining to reach infinity. An algebraic formula parenthesis invites us to insert addition, subtraction, and multiplication figures, shared experiences in a square root, an anticipated certainty equation, even though we have not yet calculated it. For the result will be a whole number, not a fraction of a single instant. A parenthesis that allows us to hold the heart of each one between that patient an arbitrary sign, willing to simply stand out, the indecipherable of love and time as a whole. Thank you.
Nitsa, thank you so much. Oh my gosh, it is so fantastic to listen to you read it in Spanish. It's such a gorgeous language. No wonder it's called the Romantic language.
Yeah, thank you, Nancy.
Thank you, Nitsa. Next up, we have Brad Maxfield, fall of 2021. He won first place in the traditional sestina. The poem is titled At the Old School, and it's on page 85. Are you ready, Brad?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes,
Yeah,
thank
okay.
you.
I won't say too much, except I stared at this crazy looking little stuffed chick on top of the faculty lounge refrigerator for a couple of years. And the absurdity of it made me write a bunch of crazy notes. And then I looked at an Ashbury sestina about rutabagas and something. And so that liberated me to say, okay, why not? So I wrote this. At the old school. In the faculty lounge at the little old school, on top of a dusty fridge, a dismissed anomaly sits. A stuffed yellow chick in a pink leotard covered in silver sequins spreads its tiny wings as if to sing or cry out, "Help me, please," it seems to say. Or maybe it's belting out a painful song about a mother flying away, as in an old song by Al Jolson in blackface, about a world no school teaches anyone about. Lost between what seems unbelievable and what the eyes lie about sits the fact that everything is failing to make sense. If outside, where a ladder leans against a wall covered with moss, a painter might decide she wanted it covered black, a cartoon window where she'd peer in to hear a song of happy children at play in the shade of an oak, as if they'd forgotten it was there. Their music teacher at school hung herself last week with her lover's sash. Payne sits in the back of the class as they practice a tune that seems all wrong. The happy farmer goes to town. It seems those plastic recorders could make the song better covered as a scherzo for tears in B minor. Farther off, the sun sits in the notch of the hills where it sizzles and fades in a song of cinematic oblivion. Smoke from campers' fires school us all about hope and redemption after the next apocalypse, if things go as planned, for cold nights and winters, when and if the slow death of language and the imagination to follow seems desired about damn time. The painted windows of schools do not lie, nor do the ladders leaning against the walls covered in fresh black paint like the resistance to fact. So far, there's no song about the town's water tower and the poison inside. It sits in the town center and has to matter, like a white picket fence that sits knee-high around acres of graves. And regarding the little chick, if anyone cared, there could still be, about sequined leotards, a song built from lies about lies and the random fear that only seems cruel, like the dumb muscle that is the heart whose failure is covered daily in the news, or what passes for it, in our nostalgic little schools. On the fridge, the stuffed chick sits, a beautiful, ugly fact that seems best ignored, if not wholly dismissed, like the stupor rarely covered in a fight song, or even in the dark classes of the little old school.
That's wonderful, Brad. Thank you so much. Sestinas are not easy to write, and this poem proves that you can write about anything. That is fantastic. Thank you so much. Next up, we have Ursula McCabe, Spring 2021. She won second place in the theme Emergence with the poem titled Habitat, which is on page 32. Are you ready, Ursula?
I am. Thank you. Habitat. Eastbound, the road gets straighter by the mile, flatter, direct. Chest percolates a bubble of anticipation, motor running, chugging, steady heartbeat in sync with something out there. Mountains are shadows perched on horizon, dreams waiting to happen. Sagebrush blooms on all sides. It's dawn. Pulling over, stepping out, I hold my breath and wait for the fluttering sound. A clean, clear cooing note, followed by a whistling pop. It's a male sage grouse with snowy white chest. From dewy mist, the speckled brown hen materializes. She steps daintily. She is ready to inspect. His chest inflates. At my feet, a bitter root is starting to blossom pink.
Oh, wonderful. Thank you so much, Ursula. These are wonderful images of the natural world. The gorgeous poem. Thank you so much. Next up, we have Joy McDowell, Spring 2021, third place of the theme Emergence, and it's titled 1969 Woods Creek Road. It's on page 34. Are you ready, Joy?
I'm up at bat now. I will just say that this poem I have written many times in the subsequent years, and it changes each time. and it speaks to a particular time and place. And it's really interesting that the weather was just about like it is right now in Oregon when I originally started taking notes that developed into this poem. So hotter than blazes. 1969, Woods Creek Road. A beggar at the start of life. Sinew glistens in sun and oil. Leisure subtracted from death. Unlucky numbers send young men off to die. Heat clamps down, 100 degrees. A transistor radio jabbers, news and pop music. The horse on the hill behind the house, now a gelding. Too feisty with vinegar. Trees beside the stucco farmhouse peel, their madrone bark red and raw. Napalm rains down, skin blisters, shedding. Electric noise floods an arcane jumble war. Depression-era parents discover divorce. Nothing in the canyon feels harmless. 7 bodies sleep in one place. A greasy mill worker pesters for carnal attention. Bull snakes crawl through dry grass, keeping rattlers away. Kindling is shoved into an ancient wood cook stove. Eggs and coffee. Oak trees tangled on the ridge. Gunfire higher up the road. Blackberry vines and poison oak. Acid rock promises. In the dark, a porcupine eats the heads off roses. Clean cuts from sharp teeth. Buzzards own the flawless blue sky. Always something dead up in those hills. The radio cuts out halfway through the noon news. Paul Harvey's voice brings it back. The days drain away. August, September. The well is going dry. Lizards own the high front porch. Dust sifts from shoes. Stars promise another promising day, punishing day. A baby boy turns 2 and receives a tricycle to pedal away. Escape from battle, from bloody hills, from being gone at 20. I would hope that someone like Michaela, younger people, might write something about the generation now and how it feels, the immediacy of everything.
Thank you so much, Joy. It's amazing to think about the poem, and you've written it over and over, perhaps several times over the years. It's amazing how poems can change and grow.
Yep.
Next up, we have Robert Nordstrom, Fall 2021, Poet's Choice, 3rd place. And the poem is entitled Big Boats, Backyard Bunkers, and the Next Big Bang. It's on page 62. Robert, are you ready?
Yes, I am.
Yay.
Can you hear me okay?
You're loud and clear.
Oh, okay, great. Yeah, I'm very happy to connect with the OPA. I'm fairly new into Oregon. We moved here, well, before years ago on Monday from Wisconsin, where I'd spent the last 40 years or so. And they had I was connected with a very, very good poetry organization, Wisconsin Fellowship of Poets there in Wisconsin. So it was great to be able to connect with OPA when we got here, and honored that this poem was selected in the fall contest. And briefly, the impetus for this poem was an article I read on the internet some years ago about some guy in Europe. I think he was from Netherlands, who decided to build a replica of Noah's Ark based on the specifications in the book of Genesis. Why somebody does that, I guess God only knows, but he did it, and that's the impetus for this poem. Okay, so this big boats, backyard bunkers, and the next big bang. Perhaps I shouldn't judge But when some guy with more money and more time than I has a bad dream involving a lot of water, so builds an ark to prove once and for all that man and his minions, AKA women and beasts here, could have been saved, and thus, by a curious leap of logic, whereby the conditional becomes factual, were saved by way of a 95-foot wide, by 410-foot long, by 75-foot tall, 5-story Yahweh designed yacht, as specced out in Genesis 6:15, I do get a bit leery and weary, though all things considered, it might make more eschatological sense and is considerably more ambitious than crouching ostrich-like beneath a desk, fingers laced over the back of your head, or diving into a backyard bunker to fork down canned peaches and stewed tomatoes while waiting for the next big bang to signal world's end so we can begin again, which sadly we seem to do. Wait, keep waiting for the end to begin again. Thank you.
Very nice. That's fascinating poem. A lot of things to think about there. It's also very humorous.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next up possibly is Brady Pearson. Brady, are you here tonight? Nope, I don't think he decided to join us tonight. All right, then next up we have David Pickering, fall of 2021, members only, second place with his poem, What Any Gay Man Over 60 Might Tell You About Pandemics. It's on page 66. David, are you ready?
I am.
Thank
Happy to see all of you this evening. I came out as a gay man in 1979, long before it was popular. And I ended up living through the AIDS pandemic. And when this pandemic hit, it brought up a lot of interesting stuff about that. So this is my pandemic poem. It's my only pandemic poem. So what any gay man over 60 might tell you about pandemics. He might tell you about tetherball glory, about being playground champ, how they teased him, how he chose it as his drag name. He might laugh, tell you to stock up on vodka, keep it in the freezer with your optimism, buy a durable dark suit and do your best not to disappear. He might tell you how little the government will think of you, your test result, and COBRA premium. He might quote McLuhan, the medium is the message. Tell you to pay attention, it's all around you. A helix singing Joni Mitchell, come with me, I know the way. It's down, down, down the dark ladder. Names on a quilt, panels turned every hour, pinwheels in a breathless time. You walk away and he might say, look down, you're already in the snare.
That's very powerful. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Next up we have, and forgive me if I'm not pronouncing your name right, Louis Vajola. Louis, are you here?
I am. It's Lohi Vajola.
Forgive me.
That's
Thank
okay.
you.
That's all right.
And your poem, it was fall 2021, first place, New Poets, and it's titled Black Hole on page 73. You also won first place, fall 2021, theme, the sea, and that is on page 79. Please go ahead.
I have never read before an audience before, so I'm very nervous. Excuse me.
Oh, it'll be wonderful.
Black hole. I don't know. I don't know. She mutters her barely audible default as we speak of the state of the world. Who can know the precise singularity when her mind crossed the event horizon on its way to extinction? That's something, she sighs, shuffling her syllables like worn slippers across sanded wooden floors. No light escapes her watery blue eyes, lank hair free-falling to the center as particles disappear from her brain's sealed vacuum. Where I go now, she grips her walker, deforming space-time as she navigates the corridor's innermost circular orbit. She doesn't remember leaving the Kármán line, sailing free, solar winds at her back. What do you call that? What that is? I don't know. I don't know what the tips of her neurons are searching for. My decoding skills eroding daily as I watch her spaghettify like a star devoured.
Was amazing.
Thank you. And that was written about my mother, who passed away in January of this year.
It's a very fine poem.
Thank you. And then this one is called The Diver. In the ocean of shadows, I swim with slime's slick seals and sway with giant turtles in sea lettuce meadows. I stroll among marketplaces of warming literal depths, admiring lusty polyps bursting from their pink coral stalls and giant anemones ornamented with clownfish, flaunting themselves in the cool water breeze as jellyfish motor above and below with balletic moves that hypnotize me into a languid stupor, a feeling of near ease. The curious double-crested cormorants look down through the water, but cannot fathom my intent to read the runes in giant kelp, the sea urchin spicules, the algal denizens, the soft underbelly of starfishes. A plucky penguin porpoises above to escape an orca that blinks twice, but then turns to me and sings a hymn in the briny landscape, in the ocean of shadows, a song of loss, its own wild lament.
Oh, delicious language in this poem. Thank you so much. So have you been writing for a long time?
No, I have not. I started around the inception of the pandemic, and then took several classes through Hugo House. And I'm with a small group, about 7 other people in a small poetry group from the Hugo House classes. So they are greatly inspiring to me. They are marvelous writers, and they keep pushing me to try my best, to do my work my best.
Oh,
Right.
you're doing a beautiful job. Thank you so much. Congratulations to all the winners. Congratulations to all of you for your very fine poems. It's so fun to listen to the variety and the depth and the breadth of all the work that gets published from the prize-winning poets. Thank you so much, all of you. I would like at this point to open up the evening to the open mic segment. I am having trouble with my screen, so I am not seeing all of you. There we go. If any of you want to read at the open mic, please raise your hands. You can do that with the little icon at the bottom of your screen, and we'll just call on you as we go. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Susan Morris, I'm going to call on you first. If you're ready, could you read your poem for us?
Yes. Oh, yeah. I just needed to get unmuted. Thank you, Nancy. Yeah, because it's so hot, it made me think of a poem I wrote a long time ago, actually in my first apartment. And back in the dinosaur ages, no cell phones, and I didn't even have a regular phone in the apartment, and it was really hot. It's in Stockton, California, and it can get to be like 110, 113 there. And I was mopping my kitchen floor, and this is an actual event that happened. So it's called Encounter on a Summer's Day. It is hot, let's say even torpid, so hot that your armpits tingle, fine needles of hair tormenting your sweaty undersides. And you're in your summer gown, which is blue gauze like the sky. You're doing the most mundane of chores, mopping, on your knees like a contrite sinner, creating little bubbles of chemical perfection, on the spot clarity, with the air smelling faintly of ammonia and your own musk scent. The odor of dead roses drifts through the rusted screen door. You are crouching, lost in the moment, thinking you are alone, yet not alone. Behind that see-through door, last night's drunk leers pathetically close. You decide too close for comfort. The next instant, in an effort to determine if this is reality or only a dream, you grab the nearest weapon at your disposal, brandishing loud words that crack like fire against the August sky. You advance upon this apparition with a bravery or a foolishness you did not know you possessed. Apologetic, the intruder mumbles, "Wrong door," and scurries off into the raging sun, across concrete steps baked hot enough for any 10-cent martyr, and you break down weeping with the bubbles dissolving underfoot. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Susan. That was just wonderful. Oh, that heat.
Yeah.
I'm ready for snow. Joanna Rose, you made it. Congratulations. Would you like to read a poem for us? We're ready to
would.
hear you.
Thank you. And thank you for working to get me that Zoom link at the last minute.
You're welcome.
So I live part of the time in Seaside, where my husband and I have recently kind of retired. And I spend a lot of time navigating both Seaside and retirement. So this is called Marriage. The husband is going after the tall yellow weeds with his weed whacker. He didn't sleep well, awake at 2 a.m., battling the future, an insurance payment, or maybe the new debit account. I like the yellow weeds, call them snapweeds because I don't know the real name. They rise defiant in the browned out lawn, the same color as the goldfinch who has been driving away the chickadees, the red finches, even a starling from the feeder. The husband is driving me away with the loud static of his carefully wrought angst, and I walk down the gravel road, his weed wackiness raveling behind me. At the 12th Avenue Bridge, the tide is low, the banks of the estuary wide, dark mud shining, quiet murky water. Estuary, I whisper, instead of insurance payment. Ebb tide, I whisper. And now come a pair of rare river otters poking along the bank, tumbling around each other, making their playful way, diving under, and I track their course by streams of bubbles until they pop up again, all here and there, until I've watched so long they're gone. I imagine going home and shouting above the weed whacker, "I saw river otters," and I imagine him shouting back, "They were probably river rats." And I imagine a woman standing forever at the 12th Avenue Bridge, one of those local legends summoned by river otters at midsummer low tide.
Very nice.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
What a gorgeous natural world poem. Let's go, Richard Granvold. Are you ready, Richard? Are you there with us, Richard? I've lost Richard Granvold. Okay, let's go Billy Schultz. Are you ready, Billy? Would you like to read one?
Yeah, thank you. Thank you all for your beautiful talent. I've heard some beautiful things tonight. Got an airplane going. Hopefully the dogs in the neighborhood don't start up. The prompt on this was from a group and we were talking about gratitude. What I wrote down for the prompt was gratitude, it makes my heart rise. And it's just kind of stream of consciousness, whatever. Raise up your spirit in the highness of gratitude. Be true to your soul, yourself, your holy self, which may not yet have been revealed to you. Our hearts are hidden by the desires of others to conform to beliefs not our own. Only when we arise above the horizon of human desires and believe can we be free to become as Spirit created us to be. Free from the shackles of inhumane humanity, forever coercing us into losing our soul, our birthright, forgetting our intention, not to mention covering pieces of our soul with dark ink. Free the light that lives within. Listen to the voice that carries no sound. Feel the presence that cannot be seen, and be who you were meant to be, free in spirit, flowing with the current of silvery stream, gleaming back the light from the sun above. Untouchable, ever evolving, limitless in beauty, carrying the gifts of life to the ever-changing vastness of the ocean. We are but a speck of sand, and without us, the ocean would be incomplete in its awesomeness. Our piece is a critical piece of the wholeness that is the universe. Shine on like silvery fans.
Thank you, Billy, so much for that beautiful poem.
Thank you.
Next up, let's go with Sue Fagaldi-Lick. She's OPA's president. Sue, are you ready?
Yep, think so. Okay, this is a prose poem, pretty new. We'll see how it goes. Home enough for now. Home at last. No, not home. Room 200 or 221 or 217. The one where the key card that you're always checking for in your back right pocket activates the green light. Shove open the heavy door and collapse on the king-size bed, the bed with the white duvet, a useless strip of colored cloth, and more marshmallow-shaped pillows than anyone could possibly need. It's always the same. Bed, dresser, microwave, fridge, desk, fold-out luggage rack, and a closet next to a bathroom with umpteen white towels, a washcloth folded like a bird or a flower pot, one plastic wrapped bar of fruity soap, a Keurig coffee machine, coffee pods, no-name tea, stir sticks, sweeteners, paper cup, an ice bucket, mirrors above the desk, above the sink, and on the back of the bathroom door, an abstract art that matches the carpet, that matches the walls, that match the drapes, that flank the blackout curtains hiding the view of the dumpster or the parking lot. Double lock the doors. Stash your juice in the fridge, your keys by the TV. Shed your clothes and makeup. Next to the clock radio with red numbers and the push-button phone no one uses anymore, place your glasses, pills, and cup of water. Lock the double locks. Work a little on the laptop, brush your teeth, wash your face, put on your nightgown, plug your phone into the charger, crawl into bed and turn off the lamp. Lie there with your eyes open. Light leaks through the crack in the curtains and under the door. A red light shines on the flat screen TV. A green light blinks on the smoke detector. The cold night light glows in the bathroom by the hairdryer. A door slams. Voices murmur. Ice crashes. Footsteps climb the stairs. Roll over onto your side, close your eyes, and sleep to the freeway lullaby. Home waits again, just up the road. Thank you.
That's wonderful. Thank you so much. Sue, do you have another one for us?
No, not tonight.
Thank you so much, Sue. That was fabulous. It makes me feel kind of sleepy. Next up, Nitsa, would you like to read one?
Thank you. I'll read a poem that was published on lalibreta.online last January, and it's called Dance of Fire. I thought it would be good to read it today because it relates to the heat and the sun. And actually, just to let you know that closer to the end, I use a phrase that it's in Quechua, and it's Inti Raimi, so that you can understand, and it's related to the Festival of the Sun. Dance of Fire. Today I danced with the sun on my terrace, to the beat of its sunset light. An ancestral woman in my memory, held in his mighty arms, I let myself be carried away by its sphere of burning light, softly, as in a waltz criollo, from my beloved Caribbean island. His intense gaze at the end of summer swayed my body, held me tight, spinning me around passionately like in a tango. Today I danced with the sun on my terrace, a joyous fire dance, freely ecstatic, his saffron reflection on my face. As I put my sanity aside, I felt his warm gaze on my skin, my cells in high vibration. My creative energy displayed a vision of ancestral images like the Inti Raimi, an exalted celebration. As he tenderly said adios, I agreed to absorb his golden magic. Now, to honor my memory of the Andes, I betray scientific logic and write about this as not to forget it. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Nitsa. Melody Wilson, somehow I did not get you in on our prize-winning poem reading. She is a prize-winning poet, Melody Wilson.
Thank you. Yeah.
Spring 2021, members only, second place. And she is on page 17 with her poem titled Tether. Melody, please read for us and forgive me for skipping.
Oh no, it's that last name. It's the alphabet. It's true. So this poem is, I was writing a collection about my family, which turned out to be about my mother. And then it turned out to be about my sister, darn. And this poem's called Tether. The old car cleared its throat as we turned onto the road. My sister, her boyfriend, me draped over the back of their seat. We were sent to the store, but instead followed first one, then another 2-lane road as they spun their web across the desert. We rode in the arm of the radio's light, the Jupiter blue of every August night, the three of us sailing past the Dairy Queen, past the water tower, past curfew. Joshua trees pressed their hands over incredulous eyes as white lines came faster and faster, broke to a single ribbon, just elastic enough to keep us from taking flight. That's it, the one.
Oh, that's wonderful. I love that Jupiter blue of every August night.
The radio.
Oh, that's gorgeous. That's gorgeous. Sailing past Dairy Queen. What wonderful imagery. Do you have a poem you'd like to read for us for the open mic?
Oh, no, thanks. That's fine. Thank you.
We would love to hear another if you have one.
Well, I have another. I mean, I have hundreds, but just a sec. Let me see what I have open.
Sure. That
Okay.
makes it fair for you.
Here's one that I just am working on right now. This is cave paintings. I can never remember the names of the caves in France, where ancient fingers painted slender legs of horses with improbable bellies. Imagine iron oxide and soot in stone bowls, minerals blended into shapes with mats of pressed moss. the artist poised between fire and the curved wall of the cave, a rust-colored horse, the outline of a bull, a charcoal stag with antlers the shape of dendrites, no people. The walls, the roof, every crevice teems with what lived above, images evolving from materials at hand and the divots geology left behind. Once a doctor sent a camera through the chambers of my heart, down into the base of my left lung. He was looking for the cause of the bleeding. I was young then and imagined the pulsing walls of my heart smooth and red. Today I expect rough spots, discoloration to document the life I have led. Or maybe there's a herd of horses bloated on optimism, manes feathered up from their necks in coal, legs so fragile they scarcely bear weight. Sometimes when I wake at night, I feel them still running.
Oh, wonderful, wonderful ending. Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you so much, Melody. And we have Robert Nordstrom would like to read another one. Go for it, Robert.
Great. Yeah, this poem is titled Old Lovers. Two lovers lie in bed, air thin between them, feeling a black cloud absorbing their dreams. Their hands touch, incidental contact, and in silence they begin their climb to gain a view, see where they have been, where they might yet go. Over there, one says. No, over there, the other responds, but neither sees what the other sees. The cynic says, see, there is no there, only breath at whose peaks and valleys we die and are resurrected again. Ah, but these old lovers know better. Eyes closed now to open the view, calling, without you, I never would have gone there.
That's wonderful. Thank you so much, Robert.
Sure. Thank you.
Is there anyone else who would like to read that I've missed? David.
Okay. This is a newer poem. I think it's done. It's titled, After Seeing Everything Everywhere All at Once, I Talked to My Dead Father. If you haven't seen that movie, by the way, really should see it. It's amazing. Anyway. One night in 1969, you and I lay on our backs in surplus sleeping bags at Salmonberry Camp. The cold air fir needles, the white blue stars, the planet Mars stuttering red. Your voice unusually gentled and trying to draw me out. I was 15 and already too full of my inheritance. Your blunt mouth, your livid brain, your thin skin, to relent. I knew what you were doing. I shut it down and you never tried again. Even if I had known, you drank at dread all night. You had no vocabulary for me. You were desperate to try. I knew by then it was better not to trust in you or in me. Now I believe one of those stars that night had our better versions, our immaculate opposites, our Atticus and Gem, flashing luminous in that cosmic sea. And we were the dark matter necessary to their goodness, our calloused and dirty work done in silence, work done in submission, work done in grief, and those bastards owe us.
Wow, that was amazing. Thank you so much, David. Do you have another one?
No, I'm done. Yeah. Thanks.
All right. Joy, did you want to read another poem?
Oh, I have kind of a shocking one. Maybe it'll wake everybody up. It's
Go
called
right ahead.
Cockroaches. Cockroaches. Letitia said her uterus was falling out of her vagina. She told me while we were playing doubles tennis. Joanne said her teeth were rotted down to infected stubs. She said this as she arranged gum in her front tooth gap. Rita said she gave away an infant boy in college. She told me after Tuesday morning Bible study. Joyce claimed the salesman could keep his organ up all night. She told me when she required an understanding babysitter. Dawn said that in high school, she and a boy were arrested. She told me it was for drinking in a small town in Minnesota. Frank told me he made a touchdown for the varsity squad. He told me because there wasn't a photo in the yearbook. Jim said he couldn't attend fireworks after serving in Vietnam. He told me when pills and his third marriage failed to fix it all. Dave told me he rode a motorcycle across Wyoming in a snowstorm. He said this when his ex sold the house in lieu of child support money. Tom said he saw a fleet of cockroaches on a wall while on an FBI raid. He said this as he rotated his Rolex and showed me his holstered gun. God said he was feeling edgy and overbooked this season. He said this when a publisher released an unauthorized biography. I tell myself how I'm a flawed Presbyterian, not yet a Buddhist. I say this because I suspect my cat knows more about the universe than I do. Tell me your stories and spread your lies. Out there somewhere is a life form with 5 eyes. When the meteor arrives to smite us all, someone will claim acid reflux by illegitimate immigrants is actually to blame.
That was wonderful. That was wonderful, Joy. Thank you.
Well, I hope it doesn't keep you awake at night.
Michaela, would you like to read another poem? And
Yes,
you're muted.
let me
There
just
we
figure
go.
out how to lower my hand. Give me just a second. All right, there we go. All right, this one is called The Selkie and the Lighthouse Keeper's Daughter. When the sunlight is too loud, you slip back under the waves to breathe. I swallow the surf with you to sink and settle in the sand with the stillness. Suck the splinters from your smile when I kiss you. You do not leave my love in the harbor with the rest of your anchors. When I am full of fog, I spin with my mirrors in search of a storm. You blow on the glass with the last of your lungs and wrap me in lamplight. Wipe the soot from my teeth when you kiss me. I do not lock your love in a chest with the rest of my winter clothes. Mostly, you meet me in the shallows, where I crown your curls in spindrift and lick the salt from the swells of your skin, while you wreath my wrists in seaweed and chase my tongue with the turning tide, until we both smell like shipwrecks.
Nice.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Michaela. Well done. Well done. Does
Keep
anyone
writing,
else?
Michaela.
Yeah, for sure. Totally. Wonderful metaphors, wonderful imagery, and wonderful rhymes. Brad, do you want to read another one?
Yes, I would. This was from a brief time that I lived in El Paso. It's called The Only Oasis. Excuse me. Moving from shadow to shade, across the bridge, a face at a time fades into a crowd of cowboy hats and hate. If there's a collective sigh, it comes like an unspectacular dawn, the gray exasperation of belief in a stream reduced to a thick trickle below dams of consequence and dubious truth. A cry rises from dust in the distance of language, beyond where a futile fence around a desert spring keeps only the lazy cows out, but means nothing to deer or wasps and golden hawks. No empire of fear and death has had a flag that didn't fly ragged as life at the edge of wind. Where there is a pocket of cool, a mother nurses a child and hums a tune about stars she learned from the desert night alone. Tutored by silence, she knows in her bones all there is to know. about love and its impossible borders.
Thank you so much, Brad. Thank you so much. Anyone else like to read? Have I missed anyone? I don't see any more hands raised. Anyone else?
Thank you, Sue, Nancy, and Susan, for all you've done for OPA and for this particular contest.
You're so very welcome, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us and for reading your wonderful poems. Winning poems, all, every single one. Thank you so much. Sue, thank you so much.
Thank you all.
Bye-bye.
Thank you all.